in here I'll share with you guys. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. How do we turn this puppy into a slideshow? Okay. All right. So like Cho said, I know we've all sort of evolved our approaches, our tactics from the beginning. Um, I know Trost is hungry looking at this picture, but I'm just going to share the meat and potatoes um, of what we wish we knew and what we're doing now that's working, that's helping us in our approaches, in our follow ups, that's making our reps successful. So here's some bullet points of what we're going to talk about. Basically, it's just an overview of how I would structure my day if you know if I'm out in a market, either alone or on a blitz. You have to have some sort of structure in your day. You have to know what you're doing the night before, really, like what you're going to do the next day. Otherwise, you're going to wake up in the morning to a mess. So the first thing that I would do if I'm just starting out now, or if I haven't done it yet, is create a tentative schedule for myself that flows with how I'm working this job, that allows me to bring new clients into my network and into my pipeline. Trost calls it an escalator, not an elevator, right? So I need to come up with a schedule that's allowing me to bring all those new contacts into my pipeline. And what we're finding that works really well is most people don't respond, don't answer, or don't take you seriously on the first touch. So following up with either places that you've been to, places that you've contacted, um, following up is key to getting those like second and third touches, like Sean talked about. That's where you're building that client relationship, and then doing a little bit of market research helps. So this is an example of how I would set up my day. Obviously, you'd have Thursday and Friday on there, but block out times, and then shift those times to where you're following up in the morning with some of your ones you haven't got in contact with, and then you're contacting new businesses in the evening. But know what you're going to be doing and be meticulous about it. Plan it the night before, and then stick to it the next day. One thing that everybody, if anybody's here still around and putting in deals on a regular basis, that they've done some version of this, I can promise you that. So you have to anchor yourself to things that you can control, because there are so many unknowns in what we do every day. It's like weird things happen. People go cold, people come in new. So set a contact goal of new people that you're going to bring in, or stones you're going to uncover, phone numbers you're going to find, emails you're going to find, and anchor yourself to that contact goal. So I think a pretty reasonable goal is anywhere from 15 to 25 new potentials every day. And at the end of an average week, you're going to have almost 100 new clients that you're going to be able to follow up with and move along the process. So in my contact system, we like to have a minimum of 2 touches. So if we're going into the business, if we're calling them before we head by, we're sending them an email, sending them a text, if you can get like the manager or owner's phone number, just make sure that you're contacting them from all angles so that they know who you are when you finally get a chance to approach them. Because we all know the hardest part is it's not handing out free money, but it's getting in contact with the person that makes that decision and keeping their focus long enough to build value and trust in what we're doing. So the amount of the more you can get in front of their eyes, the better odds you have of closing the deal when you do get that contact. So one thing, if I'm going out cold or calling cold, whatever I'm doing, before, or if I just got a referral and I don't have a whole lot of information, Google is your best friend. You can find a ton of information on almost any business now. You can Google who owns like XYZ business, and a lot of times it'll pull up a LinkedIn or a name or something, so that when you're contacting that business for the first time, you're not walking in and saying, hey, who owns this or who manages this business. You're going in and saying, hey, I'm actually I'm a funds recovery agent. We're here to help Gary with this tax refund he might not know about. Is he in today, or is there a better time I can reach him? Walking in with the name changes you from a stranger to somebody who's supposed to be there. So do all the research you can. It takes just a second to find a name. And then what we're noticing is especially scattered throughout different markets, industries have been hit less, and it just depends on where you are. So some people are finding really good luck with restaurants. Some people are gyms. Some people are, whatever the business type is. If you find that vein in your market and you find it to be good, keep working that vein for referrals and become the expert in that industry. And then the verbiage and the lingo to talk to these people. What impacts they had. If you can call them and say, hey, we just did this restaurant that's in the same location as you. These are the things that affected them. Did you notice the same thing? When you make those contacts, it's going to make you sound very knowledgeable and like somebody that they need to talk to. So one other thing that I would do to drum up new business, I've done this. I've got multiple referrals, some as frequent as like last week. $20 can go a long way. Everybody uses Amazon, and you can send them a gift card to their email. So if somebody just barely signed and they're getting $200,000 back that you helped them uncover, that's a good time to call them, congratulate them, say, hey, I saw that you signed. That's exciting. I'm excited for you to get that money. By the way, I have a $20 Amazon gift card here if you know anybody else that might benefit from our services. So this is one of those things where people aren't ashamed to refer their friends because it's a win-win for everybody. So you got to anchor yourself to bring in new business. You have to have a goal of number of contacts you're going to make that day, that week. Touch them multiple times, and then work your network until it's ice cold, because those are the deals that it's just the gift that keeps on giving. So this is another anchor that you need to, another number you need to anchor yourself to, whether you're keeping them on a spreadsheet, Sales Rabbit, notes, however you're staying organized and keeping all this contact information, whether all those go backs you have in Sales Rabbit. I would make it a point to set some time aside to follow up with the set number every day, so that you have a consistent flow of, and the customer actually gets used to that flow of like, hey, this guy must follow up on Tuesday and Thursday, because that's when I hear from him and I'm going to upload so he doesn't bug me anymore. But like I said, the average client, in order for them to trust you and trust our process, you have to touch them multiple times. You have to send them emails, contact them a few times, help them understand and build value in what we're doing. And one thing that I like to point out that I've literally just like uncovered this along the way. This is the email that I send out that I get the very most responses to. So I have a generic one that I've typed up. I send it to everybody after first contact, or even after no contact, if all I can uncover is an email. And then I'll send them this 2, sometimes 3 times, just saying, hey, can you give me an update on this? And even me personally, I don't respond to giant, 3-page emails, but I can respond to something short and simple as this. Is like, most of the time, sometimes they say they're not interested. So I know I can I can take them out of my pipeline, or they say, hey, we're actually working on this. Let's set up a time next week. Like, so keep it simple, keep it consistent and polite. Like, you're not going to make the right people mad by following up regularly, and it doesn't have to be long and drawn out. This is literally the email that I've found the most traction with, is just, can you give me an update? So pretty cool. So some tips that I wish I would have known when I'm actually working with these clients. The people that are doing the best, a lot of times have the worst salesman skills, because it's a turnoff to most people because of the industry that we're operating in, because it's tax related. They don't want to feel like they're pressured or being sold something. That these need to be their ideas, they need to be genuine, and we just need to, nudge them along the way where we can. So I would always position yourself as a reference to be able to help them understand this credit, help them understand our industry and what's out there. One example that I came across a few weeks ago, I was meeting with a chiropractor. I walked in, he had filed through his payroll provider. I think he used like Paychecks or something. He didn't know how much he had filed for, or why he even filed. He just got a check. He got some checks in the mail one day. So I walked in and he was like, yeah, we did that. I filed through this, and they didn't really tell me why, but I got a bunch of money in the mail. And so I was like very worried for that owner, because they didn't have what we're offering to these clients that I would gladly pay for myself if I was a business owner. So what we're offering them, it's not the most money that they could get anywhere. It's the greatest return amount that can be substantiated. And we're basically the only one in this space that's doing that. So one thing that I would be supremely confident in, if I'm speaking to a business owner, we know that the substantiation reports that we send out, they're reviewed by tax attorneys and CPAs, and you can watch the videos that we have on YouTube from ERC Pros. We basically plan on everybody getting audited, and we send them something that will substantiate the amount of money they took before an audit even takes place. So if I'm a business owner, I would pay almost any amount to have that happen, versus take a bunch of money that I don't know where I got it, why I got it. So keep that consulting role. If you're found to be a trusted resource that's not filling them full of smoke, or telling them things that seem too good to be true, and you let them know what we actually have to offer, there's almost nowhere else they can go. Like, they have no other choice. Business owners are scared of being audited. It's been pretty well put out there that the IRS is watching out for people who are abusing these programs. And when you're the one that's bringing that up and telling them that we're going to help them through that process, it goes a long way. So, and then they have no problem calling you and saying, hey, I talked to my CPA. He doesn't seem to think we qualify. And you just have a good enough of a relationship with them to overcome some of those concerns that we run into in the field. So some different ways that I would approach this. So obviously nothing's going to replace, if you have nowhere to start, just look on Google or look on SalesRabbit, pull a data grid search, and go somewhere until you get an arm's reach in the community. But also don't be afraid to think outside the box. There's tons of groups on Facebook. A lot of them are hyper local, so they're just they could be even in your zip code or city, and they're made for small businesses. So I would join all those Facebook groups I can. There's tons of networking events that you can go to that business owners like to go to, especially those who are involved in the community. Sometimes your city puts them on. go to almost any venue, like if it's even if it's a convention or something and there's food trucks outside, there's going to be fresh people to talk to. um and they're out grinding. So um there's investment groups that you can find. Most of them are on Facebook, Instagram, but you can Google like investment groups near me. A lot of those are business owners with side hustles. um, Become a resource with your local like city office and government. um, and then use the referral program. Trostin and Joel did a good training on that last week. But go into these CPA offices, tell them who we are, show them some of our videos, build some value in the process. um, Offer to teach. So they're financial advisors, insurance agents, and those types of groups. They host big seminars, and they're always looking for a way to attract businesses and business owners. So find those groups, offer to teach classes, and drum up business in your community, and your name's going to start getting out there. One other thing that we've noticed: multiple businesses. So people who they might have 10 of the same business or 10 different businesses. They're in these small business parks where it's like a tiny office. They have a receptionist there. So I would maybe do some research, find where those are, and see what you can uncover online, and figure out who's the owner, how many businesses they own, and you can get some of those deals in bulk. So I would set aside at least a portion of my week. You can't spend all your time chasing big fish, but you can set some time aside to go after veins that are going to consistently produce and bring multiple deals at a time. One other thing too, so the owners, even if they won't give you referrals or they might not know anybody, most people have a support group in whatever it is that they're doing. So there's literally a convention or a group or a networking event for every single industry that you can imagine. And most business owners, if they're savvy and they care about becoming better at their trade, they're going to know when and where these are. So I would ask them, just say, hey, I know you own a few restaurants around here. Even though you already filed, is there a group that I can get in front of to try to pick up some of these ones, help these ones that haven't filed? So I would just become a staple in your community however you can. And people are gonna, even if they've already done it, people are gonna come out of the woodworks. Like, it's crazy. People call. I have no idea how they got my number, and like we're putting them through. So one other thing too, don't be, I would take a half hour. If you've noticed, if you put anything in recently, if you've done a questionnaire within the last 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, even on some of your older deals, as we get better and better, the new hub dates are awesome, and they're very detailed. We have a description of what it means. So if you're proactively updating this customer and it's validating what our team's saying, you can rest assured that that's going to be somebody that's at least happy with the service that you provided them. So one guy, we've had several people like that we're working with, especially on a larger scale, that are constantly asking for referrals. I took like probably 2 minutes once a week to send this guy a text, just letting him know, hey, sorry it's taken a while, like, but this is where your return's at. We're pulling up all the government orders to help prove that you deserve this money. I sent him a couple texts, and then I asked him if he would be a reference if somebody wanted to call him and ask like how his experience went, and he told me he for sure would. And that's been an awesome resource. So now he didn't give me any referrals, but he's let several people call him, and he's like spoken good things about what we do, and it's led to more business. So make sure you're providing a good service the best that you can. to these people that we're bringing in. And that's where your deals are gonna come from. So that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully it helped. And yeah, if I could say anything, it would just be make sure you're not a one-stop shop. You're consistently in these networks, and the veins are going to come out, and you're going to keep pulling deals out of places that you're surprised where they come from. So
Kevin, that was honestly such a good training. I hope everyone paid attention to it. A couple things that I wanted to touch on. The hub literally should be your best friend. Like you should be going there every single day, every morning, every night before I go to bed, and every morning before I get to work. I should be looking at my hub, seeing the status of my deals. Like Kevin touched on it. Huh? I did. Sorry, I'm at my house. I'm watching the kids tonight, just do a little babysitting. But I would be on the hub, and I would always be noticing when movement is happening. One thing I would check every single day is my deals that obviously the deals that completed, but the deals that have been sent out their paperwork that haven't signed yet. We sent a list out to everybody today, to all of the regionals, of just all the deals in their downline where the companies have paperwork that they just haven't signed yet. Sean has started calling through some of these. A lot of them have not been reached out to by the rep. And some of them have had their paperwork for a week, and they just had a question. They just needed clarification on something. And so Sean's done a great job cleaning that up. But if I'm a rep, I'm not leaving that up to hopefully somebody in a call center or one of the executives gives my customer a call. I would be on that, because a lot of these have been just like simple clarification things, but he's gotten a lot of people to sign just by giving them a phone call and answering very simple things, or even just reminding them, hey, the next step is just for you to sign it that we can file, and people get on it. So that's the first thing that I would do.
Hey, Kevin.
That Kevin was talking about. And then there were so many gems in there. Like, I loved all of them, but I do like the confidence that we should have that we're doing this the right way. Like it should help us be assumptive. It should help us like open doors and things like that. I can't stress the importance of like understanding like the confidence behind our program, and that we do it the right way. And and I tell anyone who's been on a call with me that I've been talking to a customer, I don't say there's a chance in the case that you might get audited. Every time I say, hey, we're looking at this, like every company is going to get audited, and we're preparing for that before we even file it. And so you're going to have a packet that's going to substantiate every dollar down to the penny of every credit that we get you. I think, like Kevin said, if they don't end up going with you and you've put that out there, then basically what they're saying is they don't care about compliance. They're not worried about audits. And every company I've like gone there with has ended up going with us, because that's like so important. So anyways, Kevin, great training. Sean, is there anything that you would add, anything, or that you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I was just going to say two things. Number one, whenever I say I'm babysitting my kids, my wife gets mad at me because they're my kids, so I'm not babysitting them. I don't know. Second of all, yeah, what Kevin said about following up. I've had a lot of really great phone calls this week with clients. If they're still there and they haven't gone elsewhere, they just have a concern. Some of the concerns have just been a little substantiation. Hold on, my dog's eating my meat. Edie. Sorry, I just came home to dinner. Indy. So yeah, it just required reaching out. I just am really honest. Hey, Sean with the ERC Pros, I'm just calling to see where you're at and what I can do to assist you. And people have been pretty honest. I had one guy that was really abrupt and hung up on me. And then he called me back a minute and a half later. And then we ended up working it out. And he had two companies, and the combined total was almost 500,000. So just reaching out and now trying to understand what their concerns are, because if they've still sat on it and it's been several weeks or whatever, and they haven't gone elsewhere, it's there and they've had time to understand it. It's not fresh anymore. Now it's just, there's a concern that we can resolve. So if anybody has any of those that are out there, and maybe you've already exhausted some of your own resources and you would like maybe somebody else to reach out on your behalf, whatever, I'm happy to make those calls and help you out. So reach up to your managers, your regionals, or even to me. I would be more than happy to help reach out to clients who haven't signed, who have those in their hands, and just to resolve concerns. I think that's it, man. Great job.
You're muted, Trost.
Oh, I said so many good things, but I just want to say we love you guys. Let's finish the week strong. And I did throw in a Santa Fe. We love you. Keep going strong, you guys. I'm excited to see how you finish the week. Let's go have a really strong end of the week. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. We'll see everybody later.
Thank you.